Hey guys, Mr. Letty here. Just wanted to continue with our notes for Monday. So we're going to talk about some basic information about contour maps and streams. Okay, just one thing to note is when I'm talking about streams, I could be talking about a river, a creek, whatever you want to call it. So it's any flowing body of water that's inland. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Could be a river. All right, so when we refer to parts of a stream, where the stream starts, we're going to call it the head of the stream. All right. And where it ends is the mouth of the stream. Okay. So here would be an example of a stream head. So you have some groundwater that's bubbling up. Okay. And enough of it bubbles up that it starts to flow. And that then in turn becomes a river. And then when I have the river flowing out into a larger body of water, an ocean, a bay, a lake, that's going to be the mouth of the river. Okay, so stream head where it starts, stream mouth where it ends. Okay, now some of you may have been taught the lovely information that rivers only flow in one direction, that they only flow south or they only flow north. The only direction that a river ever flows in is down. Okay, they can flow in any of the cardinal directions. All right, so I don't care that, apparently there are some teachers that teach you that they only flow south. Um, that is completely incorrect. All right, the Nile River would be a good example of a river that flows north. So, and if you haven't heard that, good. But year after year, I always have kids who tell me that. All right, so it's always going to go from high elevation to low elevation, so in a downward direction. Okay, so we're starting up here in our hills here, which are going to call gullies, which again are going to be those little teeny streams that we just saw that are the heads. Okay, so each of these would have a head that then flows and joins with a larger river. Okay, which we'll call tributaries as they come in, and then they're going to form into the river and out through the mouth. Okay. Okay, so let's get over to contour maps. All right, so our contour maps show elevation. So the picture on the right is represented by the contour map on the left. And at first you're going to say, yeah, I really don't see it. It doesn't kind of match up. Okay, well, if you notice over here, you have a hill. That's your little hilltop right there. That's this spot right here. Okay, so that matches up. Okay, and then you see how these contour lines have like a little point to them. Okay, that's going to represent this river coming up and flowing through the hill here. Okay, and then we could have a tributary there and there, which would be represented here and here. Okay, so you'll get used to seeing them to where you'll be able to see the picture and then picture the contour map. That's just practice and with time. Okay, so this is one way to try and help picture it. If I have my little mountain here, that's going up to 40 meters. Okay, we're starting at 0, so we're assuming this is an island. Sea level is always 0, or if you see the word ocean written out here, that means that first line is always at 0 sea level. It's telling me my contour interval is 10 meters, so I know that means every line is going by tens. So from 0 to 10 to 20, 30, 40. Okay. Now, when we are looking at a contour map, which you will sometimes hear called a topographic map, all right, you're going to have all of these 8 things to keep in mind. All right, so every contour map should have the contour lines that show the elevation. There should be a compass rose somewhere on the map that's telling you where north is. Okay, and then from there you can figure out south, east, and west. There should be some sort of scale for distance. Number 4, latitude and longitude you may have or you may not have. All right. Oh, pardon me. Snuck up on me there. You should have a key that's going to show different features and locations. So if there's any buildings or things like that, there's usually a key, and it'll show a colored box or something like that to indicate that there's a building, or like number 6, there might be roads in red, white for bedrock, black names, green is vegetation, okay, and so on. The map should tell you where it's from, okay, but it doesn't always. All right. And number 8 and number 2 are pretty much the same thing, magnetic declination, so don't worry about that. Okay, so these are the things that you'll find. All right. So if you see CI, that stands for contour interval. So again, that's what each line is worth. The rule of the contour V's. All right. The river or stream is running in the opposite direction of the V. So I'm going to show you that on another map. But if you remember from the earlier one that I showed you, as a matter of fact, let's just bring it up. Okay, so over here, you see there's a V. There's a V. There's a V. Okay, that means the river is running in the opposite direction of the V's. So it's coming out of the V. Or you can think of it as the point of the V is pointing to the direction where the river comes from. All right? So it's going to be flowing in the opposite direction of the V. Okay, when you have close contour lines, that means that you're looking at a steep slope. All right, so it could be a cliff or just a very steep part of a mountain, and you'll see that those contour lines squeeze close together on the map. All right, if it's flat land, those contour lines are going to be very spread out. Okay, we're going to be doing some problems with something called gradient, which is on the front page of your reference table, and that's just basically going to talk about the slope of the mountain. So how high is a mountain going up for a particular amount of distance? Okay. When you see a bullseye, that's going to represent a hill or a mountain. Okay, and then there's something called Harshad lines, which we're going to show you, which represent a depression or a hole. Okay, so when you have a hole in the ground or you have a canyon or something like that, you're going to have these Harshad lines that are going to mark that. Okay. I don't know why I built it with that spinning around. Okay. So here we have a map. Okay. So let's look at the things that it can tell me. Now, in this particular case, I have some things left out because I want to see if you guys can figure them out. All right. So I don't have the contour interval written on the map. So there's a couple of ways you can figure this out. Okay. I can look down here in the bottom left and it says ocean, which tells me that right here along the beach, that's 0. So this first line is 0. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines till I get to 100. So 100 divided by 5 is 20. So that's telling me that each line is worth 20. Okay. If you didn't do it that way, on the right-hand side, I have 160 around this, circling the D here. And then it goes from 100, 1, 2, 3 lines to 160. Okay. So 160 minus 100 is 60. All right. Divided by 3 is 20. Okay. Now you'll see here it's telling me north. So I might ask you, what direction is this river flowing? The Red River. We're not talking about this tributary over here to the left. Okay. So I can look and I can see here's those V's. Okay. That one's more of a U, but you get my point. All right, so it's pointing in the opposite direction the river is flowing. So it's pointing to the northeast. So that means the river is flowing to the southwest. Okay, and then if I looked at this tributary over here to the left, you see my V's or U's, whatever you want to call them, are pointing, okay, to the northwest. So that means this tributary is flowing to the southeast. Okay. Now, if I asked you where is the steepest part of this map, okay, you'd want to tell me somewhere over here because you can see the lines are close together. So if I were picturing this, there's obviously 2 hills, with a river in between. So I'm going to have a kind of a V-shaped valley. But on one side, it's going to be a steep valley. And on the other side, it's going to kind of be a gradual valley because you can see the spacing here. Okay, so we're spread out, so that's nice and gentle. This is very steep. So at location D, if you were hiking to that location, okay, you'd probably want to come from somewhere on the beach over here by location C, because that's a much gentler hike than if you were over here. Okay. All right. Couple of other questions here. So again, I'm going to ask you. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot one thing on the other map. If I asked you what is a possible elevation for location D, okay, it's inside the contour line for 160, which means it has to be more than 160. Okay, but I don't see another line inside, so it didn't reach 180. Okay, so location D, if I asked you this on a test, you'd look for the answer that's between 161 and 179. Okay, it could be any number in between that range. Okay, if this were short answer, I'd accept any number in that range or the range. You can give me that as well. Okay, but if you said 180, okay, you'd be marked wrong because there is no circle here representing 180. Okay, so if I looked on this map, I might ask you questions like what's a possible elevation for point X? Okay, and if I looked here, I'd go, okay, the interval is 20 meters. There's a contour line here for 300. I'm moving towards the top of a hill, so I'm going up. So this line has got to be 320. So point X is between 301 and 319. Okay, again, any of those would be fine. Okay, if I could ask you what direction the river is flowing. Okay, and hopefully you tell me it's flowing towards the northeast because, again, these V's are pointing towards the southwest. Okay, so northeast. I could ask you where the steepest section of the map is, and you'd be telling me here. Okay, why are you telling me there? Because the lines are all close together. Okay, so I'd be showing you more of this in class. We'd be doing it where I'm asking these questions and looking for answers from people. I could possibly ask you for proof. How do you know that the contour interval is 20 meters? Okay, and I could do that a number of ways. Again, we have the ocean here, so it's 0 there. So from 0 to 100 is 5 lines, 100 divided by 5. I could do 200 minus 100 divided by 5. Okay, so something along those lines. All right, that should cover the questions there. Now, this, with all the little dashes here, this is a Harshad line. Okay, so when I look here, this is a hole. Okay, could be a crater, anything like that. So the Harshad lines are going to indicate the hole. All right, now how do you know the value or how deep the hole is? Okay, the first Harshad line is always going to be equal to the last contour line. So the last contour line was 20, which means his first Harshad line is also 20. Okay, now because it's a hole, I'm going to start counting down, so the next line in is going to be 10. Okay, if I asked you for a possible depth of this hole, you do not see another line representing 0, so it's going to be somewhere between 1 and 9. We could say meters, feet, whatever the map happened to indicate. Okay, so that's a Harshad line, and that represents a hole. Okay, we are not ready to go into profiles yet, so that's going to be tomorrow's lesson. All right, so we're going to stop there. You're going to be looking tomorrow for a message about a program called Test Wizard. Okay, so I will be sending out your login information, And during the day, I will probably record a short video explaining how to log on and how to use the program. And then we'll do a test assignment just to see if you guys can get in and make sure that everybody's functioning, and that I don't have to reach out and fix anybody's login information and all that fun stuff. All right, so I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk with you soon. Thanks.